I was in active addiction for over 18 years. I was addicted to opiates, was my drug of choice. It started out as being cool and trying to, fit in with my older brother and stuff, but then that choice became a lifestyle. I couldn't go 4 hours without getting sick, pretty much, like violently ill if I didn't have the drug. Everything I did revolved around getting the drug or the money to get the drug. Like I would steal, I would, manipulate people. I would do any and everything to get the money in order to go get the drug. And I never quit thinking about it. It didn't matter how much I had or how little I had. It was always my next play, my next play. What am I going to do next? Where am I going to get this and how am I going to get it? I just vanished, from being a mom and a stay-at-home mom that loved her children and did everything for them, and I just vanished off the face of the earth. And they didn't know if I was alive or if I was dead, and I had no hope. Like I knew that I was going to die a drug addict, and I had zero hope of ever being a normal functioning human being. Got arrested, just like most drug addicts do, and I ended up leaving to go to a rehab. I ended up in Alabama in a rehab, and there was drugs there. I wasn't strong enough. I didn't have the tools to know what to do or how to survive in an environment where I didn't want to do drugs but wasn't strong enough to say no. So I ended up running from there for about 2 weeks, and my mom came and got me, and one of the girls from there knew about the Charis House because she had gone through it. And so my mom just brought me here. Like, we didn't have an appointment, I didn't have an interview, and I just showed up on the front porch of Charis House. And it has literally given me hope, and the amount of love the people around us in this church give us is insane to me. I've never experienced a genuine love from people I don't even know. So the Charis House brought me hope, and that's where I met God at. I mean, I had no clue the amount of love. Like, He changed me completely. I am nowhere near the same person I used to be. Like, He changed my heart, and I'm grateful for that.
I was first introduced to ecstasy. I think I was about 15 years old, and I think all of my friends were doing it and just wanted to know what it was like. So then I moved on to cocaine and mushrooms, and I could go on for days, really. It didn't turn into an addiction per se until I started using opioids, like OxyContin, and then later heroin. Then I started waitressing, and I couldn't remember their orders. I would spill the food, drop the plates, go to the wrong tables, and it was a mess. And nothing I did ever worked out. I could just never accomplish a task. I was always confused, always looking over my shoulder, always just in a state of panic. I had lost my children, I had lost a lot of my family because of my addiction, and it was a state of hopelessness, I was in and out of jail for about 12 years, probably more time in than out. And every time I went to jail, I would just learn how to be a better criminal or meet, people that were higher up. And I came out a criminal mastermind after the last time, I just thought, well, this is the way to go, But yes, but it landed me a 25-year sentence that thankfully I wasn't convicted of. So this is me 1 year ago. It's terrible. Mugshot, the worst mugshot ever. That was me 1 year ago. I felt like my life was over. And then it wasn't over. Just don't ever give up, That's what I've learned, The Charis House opened their doors to me, and they seen something in me that I didn't even see in myself, They gave me hope and just trust, I'm a complete stranger with a terrible rap sheet, and they opened their doors to me, and it was a beautiful thing. I loved it. I started looking around at everybody, and they all had this Jesus glow. And I was like, I want that, You could just see it in their face. They have just pumped me filled with confidence, love, showed me such a better way of life. I have a whole network of new friends, and you know, they truly want what's best. They want to, you know, they're inspiration for me. So there's this Bible verse that has a lot of meaning to me. It's in Galatians 5:13, and it says, "For you were called to freedom, only do not turn your freedom into an opportunity for the flesh, but through love serve one another." That just means everything to me. You know, through love we do serve one another, and I feel like that's what it's all about.
What does the Ministry Village mean to you?
Well, for me, it's a chance to visit with people, and talk and have food and get a shower and get a change of clothes.
Yeah.
And sometimes I write a prayer request and put it in the prayer request box.
I did not grow up in church at all. I knew John 3:16 because my grandma, you know, it's one of the scriptures she had you memorize when you went to VBS. And that was the only time that I really got any kind of word at all. Went to college and did all the things that you had to do, I guess, in order to be successful. The only thing I didn't have was God. And so I started using drugs when I was 31 years old. You know, just one bad choice. You know, all it takes is a choice, you know, and you really think, you know, because for so long I could handle anything that was thrown at me. You know, I assumed that I could, you know, do it one time and it, you know, just be an experience that I had, but it was not like that. It eventually became a weekend thing to an everyday thing till I couldn't stop on my own. Lost my career, just, you know, became alienated from my family, neglected my children. I have 2 beautiful girls. I knew that they would be taken care of at my mom's, and so I just quit showing up. And even when I was there, I wasn't there, just wasn't present in their lives. And I just, you know, you're numb to everything. You're numb to the feelings that, you know, you're supposed to have as a mother when you long for your children. You know, you just don't see it at all. So ended up in jail, was on probation, couldn't follow the rules of probation, and you know, you eventually just go back to jail, and the judge gives you an ultimatum, and it was either prison or Charis House. Got here and started reading the Word, and I just fell in love with how God loves people, just loves, you know, and how redeeming His love is, and started reading the Gospels, and it literally, like overnight, changed my life. It's just changed a lot of things as far as my perspective on life, what I want, and how I want to raise my children. So it's been a true blessing. I wouldn't have been able to do it without God. He gets all the glory. He is thebomb.com.
So at age 13, I started using drugs to fit in and be cool, and then it was a way for me to escape reality. And I ended up falling in love with it, for real. I've been in and out of jail since I was 19 years old. This last time I had 7 to 8 felony cases stacked up against me. I was in jail and got into a fight and was thrown into a lockdown cell with nothing but a Bible, my mat, and my blanket. I started in Genesis, and by 10 days I was halfway through the Old Testament. It was Joseph's story that really broke me down, where the Holy Spirit came on me. Everything that, you know, the devil meant for evil, God turned it around for good for Joseph. I kept reading the Bible. I put a hunger in my spirit. I got through reading the Bible, and a week later a visitation popped up on my screen from a girl I ain't spoke to in 2.5 years that had been through the Charis House program. And she told me that she wanted to offer me the same opportunity that she had. And I was like, let's go with it, you know. And that's how the door opened for me to come to the Charis House. Since I've been here, I've restored relationships with my family. My family, we didn't go to church growing up. The Lord was not in our family at all. And now my mom and my kids, they attend church regularly every week. Yeah, and I just love Jesus.
What does the ministry village mean to you?
It means hopes, and it gives you purpose. You know, when all else fails, it gives you a strong shoulder to lean on, a big ear to talk to, and it gives you confidence.
I was married for 8.5 years, got divorced, and after my divorce, I started hanging out with the wrong crowd, started dating the wrong people, and just gradually got further and further into the drug world by the people I was hanging out with. I was addicted to meth and heroin since I was 27. It was an everyday thing for me. It was a way of life. And then I started selling and wound up in jail multiple times, and it just gradually got worse as I got older. I used to be all about my kids, my family, and then when I got deep in addiction, I didn't care. I didn't care about seeing them. I didn't care about my parents. I cared about nothing but me and my addiction and getting what I wanted. I was just looking to make money and get high, and that's all I wanted to do. I got arrested right at 2 years ago, and I was in the county jail, and there was a girl in there who was happy all the time, and I'm like, what is wrong with you? How are you happy in jail? Something is wrong with you. And I asked her, I was like, what do you got going on? Like, how are you this okay in jail? Because I was not. And she informed me she read the Bible every day, and she, had to change her life. And I was like, well, I want to do that. So I put in a request to the chaplain and decided I wanted to go into rehab. And the chaplain at Santa Rosa County Jail was the one that told me about the Charis House. So I filled out the application while I was in jail, and I sat there for a year waiting to be sentenced, and the state would not come off at 8 years. They were set on 8 years. And I'm like, man, I'm going to prison. Like, this is it for me. I'm done. I remember sitting in jail and just praying that God would open a door and close this one. Like, it had been a year since I had been out of jail. And my attorney called the jail one morning. He said, do you want to get on the bus tomorrow? And I'm like, no, not the prison bus. I sure don't. I want to go home. And he said, no. He said, you're getting released. And I just remember sitting there thinking, like, God has given me a chance, another chance at life, to start over. And I called my mom, and I'm like, I want to go to the Charis House. I want help. And I got released on August 4th and left jail and came straight to the Charis House. When I got there, I was scared. I didn't know how. I'd never been to recovery, didn't know what to expect. But everyone was so loving and caring. And since I've been there, I have rebuilt relationships with family members that I never thought could be mended, with my niece and nephews, my kids, my mom, my dad. I found that Jesus, if you do what you're supposed to do, that he answers prayers. You just have to give him your all, and he'll give you his all. That's all. I woke up thinking about drugs. I went to bed thinking about drugs and money. And now when I wake up, I think about, okay, what are we going to do today? Like, what is God going to do for me? What is he going to show me? What am I going to learn? I stay in Psalms a lot. Psalms 91, when I was in jail, I started reading it every night because it just lets me know that he's always with me no matter where I'm at. That he's there with me, and he's going to comfort me and protect me, and we're going to get through whatever we have to get through with him. Not anything I do on my own, but anything, if I want to do anything, I can do it because he's beside me, and I know that. Whoever dwells in the shelter of the Most High or rests in the shadow of the Almighty, I will say of the Lord, he is my fortress and my refuge, my God in whom I trust.
Okay. The ministry means to me somewhere that's close to the church and at home, and a body that truly cares about. As those that show up and just love to be here, the presence with other believers, we're supplying a need in a community that's permanently a part of our year-to-year, day-to-day, or even month-to-season life. And I'm just so blessed to be a part of this, and I just thank God that there's people that are godly like me who go, attend church every Sunday and are part of meetings and things like this. I feel is a wonderful and most gracious, just the most privileged part to be a part of other believers eating together in a theme that provides so much for us.
I was rebellious whenever I was younger. My stepdad tried to be really strict, and I did rebel against that. So I ran away when I was 17 after my first heartbreak. I ran away to Houston, Texas, where I was introduced to cocaine. But it kind of was just like a domino effect after that. In 2002, a murder happened in my family, in my immediate family, and I made the decision to choose drugs to cope with that. In 2007, I had my first daughter, and she was a stillborn. So after that tragedy, I chose drugs to deal with that. So every big thing that's happened in my life, I've always resorted to drugs. A situation happened and I got incarcerated for 6 months. I hit a brick building, an open establishment with my children in the car. So I was in the vehicle and I ran into the building. It was very devastating. I went to jail that day. I didn't know where the kids were or if they were okay. I really couldn't have any communication with them being incarcerated. It's like I really couldn't reach out to them. And then after I got incarcerated is when I went to rehab for 6 months, and then I did a year at the Charis House. I actually got saved while at the Charis House, and my son and I got baptized on 9/11 of last year. So my whole life has changed. It's just being with them and being sober and seeing them with so, clear eyes and just enjoying every minute with them. It's amazing. God has just taken away all the desires that I've had to use drugs or to be in relationships and not being married, or, I don't even cuss anymore. So when they say that God delivers you, He really delivers you. Cease striving and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our stronghold. Selah. I like it because I feel like God, that He made me very, very still in order to lean on Him and I think he made me really, really still so that I could hear that small voice and lean on Him and confide in Him and let Him just lead the path.